Next chapter is 17, and very interesting topic, creating new entity, molid. So meaning entity that did not exist before. Okay. One area in which Halachos of Yom Tov are significantly more lenient than those on Shabbos is that of molid, creating a new entity, and nolad, causing to creation of the creation new entity. In this chapter, we'll examine these prohibitions and the laws pertaining to Yom Tov. So again, molid, it's creating new entity, meaning you take some actions, and nolad is like a grammar, right? Not indirectly. So you do something, but the result is going to be like this. Okay. So let's see. Number one, create a new entity. The sages instituted prohibition against making something new on Shabbos. Okay, even where it does not involve any melacha. The prohibition is known as molid, creating a new entity. Okay. Was enacted because making something new resembles melacha. For example, it is forbidden to crush ice or any frozen liquid on Shabbos, because by doing so, he creates new entity, liquid. The same prohibition applies to dissolving a frozen item by other methods, such as pouring hot water over it, shaking, rubbing, or stirring. Some poskim rule that on Yom Tov this prohibition applies chiefly if one creates something that did not previously exist at all. For example, it is forbidden to strike a match to create a flame, even for the sake of cooking food on Yom Tov meal. Merely changing something from one form to another, such as solid to liquid, or vice versa, is permitted for the sake of Yom Tov meal. The following are some practical application of the rule. So before we go to practical application, we need to know the basis. So again, it's creating something that did not exist before Shabbos. So whether through our action or indirectly. So through our actions is nolad and molid, and indirectly is nolad. Okay. Just 1 second. So again, let's say it again. So the prohibition known as molid, creating new entity, was enacted because making something new resemble melacha. So meaning melacha, meaning that the definition of melacha, we do something, some action, and it produces a positive result. Right? For example, it is forbidden to crush ice in any frozen liquid on Shabbos. So, but just to melt ice, there is no problem. Melt ice meaning you put a few cubes of ice into your coffee because it was too hot. There is no problem, right? Because it's indirectly. Okay. 1 second. Because by doing so, one creates new entity, liquid. Okay. So when you crush the ice, so if you took ice from your freezer and let it stand on the counter and it melted, no problem whatsoever. Okay, but to crush it, so meaning you make the process quicker. That's the issue. Liquid. The same prohibition applies to dissolving a frozen item by other methods, such as pouring hot water over it. So meaning again, you do some activity. Right, you put in some water over it. So, but putting ice into the cup of hot water, it would be indirectly. Shaking, right? Shaking, rubbing, or stirring. Okay, so it would be forbidden. Okay, so meaning to dissolve it faster. Okay, continue. Some poskim rule that on Yom Tov, this prohibition applies chiefly if they creates something that did not previously exist at all. So very interesting. So not exist at all. Not meaning on Shabbos it would be forbidden, like to apply direct action to go from one from one form into another. For example, it was liquid that congealed, right? And now we want to like a gravy or something like, and now we want to melt it. So Ashkenazim do not warm up the liquids. Period. Not any liquids. Even they did not congeal. And one of the reasons would be like this one, right? Noat, right? But if you want to eat this chicken, for example, with a gravy, you can take the chicken on a countertop, not next to the source of the fire, and then there is no problem. So because of the room temperature, so you did not do anything active, right? Because of the room temperature, it's going to be like not as cold, right? And then the gravy would melt. There is no problem. Okay. So one more time. One more time. Some poskim rule that on Yom Tov the prohibition applies chiefly if one creates something that did not previously exist. So as we said, on Yom Tov it's much more lenient. Okay, so not what did not previously exist. For example, it is prohibited to strike a match to create a flame, but to take a match and from one candle, for example, or from a stove and light the candle, there is no problem. It's not, you're not creating new flame, you just transferring that flame into another place. Okay, and you can use it with the match. There is no problem. You can transfer his match, no problem. Okay. So for example, it is prohibited to strike a match to create a flame, even for the sake of cooking food on Yom Tov, right? So we said many things are allowed for a need on Yom Tov, right? And for a need of Yom Tov is what? Of cooking. So maybe I can strike a match. It's for cooking, which is allowed, and it's for the enjoyment of Yom Tov. They say absolutely not. Merely changing something from one form to another, such as solid to liquid or vice versa, is permitted for the sake of Yom Tov meal. Okay, so meaning to warm up soup, right, or something like this chicken with gravy would not present any issue on holiday. Okay, the following even for Ashkenazim, the following are some practical application of this rule. Okay, so A. Any questions before we continue? So because we covered the basis, but now we're going to examples. Any questions? Yes, go ahead, please.
Sorry, Rabbi, I forgot to make a question that I had about the marinating thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead.
So when it says that on Shabbos it is forbidden to marinate a food item in a spicy liquids such as vinegar, salt water, pickle brine. So does this prohibition also include marinating with spices that come in the shape of powder?
I don't think that's not how you marinate things with the powder. No. So marinated, the whole idea of marinated, it's preserving that you can eat this food. I don't know, in a later time, right? So, but when you marinate things in a brine, so you can eat it like a year later, 5 years later. I mean, it depends what you add there, but technically the food should not go bad in the marinade. That's the thing. But if you just put the powder, it's not going to preserve. So it's not that. Got it?
Thank you, Rabbi. No, I think I'm kind of confused because I thought marinating will be putting like certain food for some sort of a long period of time to something that is going to improve the taste of this food. Like, for example, if I take, I don't know, some chicken, some fish or whatever, and I leave it overnight in a mixture of, I don't know, like garlic.
Okay, yes.
Whatever. I thought this was marinating, but I guess
it is also marinated. Yeah. So you can marinate. There are two like things for marinate. Marinate in order, as you said, preparation for the next step of cooking, right? It is true. And then second is marinated for as a preservation. So it's different. I think if I'm not a big cook, but as my wife explained to me, so if you use just salt, like mostly salt or other spices, it's pickling with the salt. But if you use vinegar, it's more marinating. So it's different tastes. You understand? So if you buy marinating in a store, right? So it's for sure it has vinegar, for sure. Okay. But if you do pickles, most likely there's maybe a little vinegar, but for a taste, but not for preservation. The main part for preservation would be salt. Okay.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So just to make this clear, if I find a way of marinating a food, certain food, not for the sake of preserving the food, but to improve the taste, and using an entity that is not gonna change either the quality or the texture of the food, would this be allowed then?
I mean, if it's on Yom Tov, for Yom Tov, there is no problem. It's like you salting. They say you're allowed to salt, and you're allowed to dip into vinegar or some dip that you create. There is no problem. There is no problem because it's for now. You do it for the sake of the meal. There is no problem.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome.
There's a question.
Okay, go ahead.
The board, it says, Thank you very much for the Shiur. Some time ago, lulav explained to me that matches and candles are not muktzah during Yom Tov. But I forgot to ask if we should put the Yom Tov candles next to the dinner table, as in Shabbos, or could they be placed in the kitchen for in order to avoid trouble to go next to the dinner table? Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay, so that's an amazing question. So it's actually the same answer is for Yom Tov and Shabbos. So we have to derive some benefit from the candles. So, for example, if you have a huge chandelier above your Shabbos table, right? The two little candles or whatever, how many candles you lit, they're not going to make much a difference, right? But when you prepare food, for example, you don't have enough light, right? And you would use this candle. They would play a big role, so that you can light the candles there, right? So there's no, but you have to derive some benefit, practical benefit from these candles. And one of the practical benefit, if you put it on a table, you have on a table, dinner table, a few candles, and you have the chandelier with, I don't know, how many, 400 watts, I don't know, a lot of watts, 300, I don't know, like very, very bright, right? So you need to derive some benefit from the candle. Otherwise, you're not allowed to say the blessing. So you put Tehillim next to it, and you read some Tehillim, say something, like you use the light. But second, like practically light. If you put it on a counter, no problem. I mean, if you need the light there, yeah, for sure. So, for example, in my house, we don't have. We have the light in the kitchen, but we leave it off because we have a light in the dining room. I mean, it's close. It's not like room and room. It's a tiny area and next to tiny area, right? So we have like above the table we have a light, and there on the counter we don't have a light. There is like a small like under the cabinet light, if you feel bulbs, right? But if like tiny, right, LED. But if you would put candles there, you would benefit for sure, right? So for food preparation, for cleaning, this and that. So do one of the two. So say Tehillim if there is for sure no benefit from this light other than beauty. So or you use it in a place where you actually eat, right, and you can benefit. One of the two. Okay.